The following is a CUNY TV special presentation.
Today we honor the special achievements of 11 of the graduates of CUNY's Adult Literacy GED program that has been serving literally tens of thousands of students on 14 CUNY campuses for more than 30 years. I mean, that's an incredible achievement. It's funded by the New York State Education Department and by the Mayor's Office of the City of New York, and that is truly government at its best, helping people improve their lives through education. The GED High School Equivalency Diploma is awarded under the auspices of the New York State Education Department. Students in the CUNY GED program, as exemplified by today's award winners, have shown their determination and commitment to college and their futures by excelling on the GED exam in preparation for college-level study. We know that your lives are challenging and complex, and as you will soon hear as part of the program, the most important part of the program, filled with the responsibilities of work and schooling and childcare, and for many of you, adjustments to a new language and a new culture that will put you in a wonderful position to continue to move forward. So on behalf of all of us here today, teachers, counselors, administrators, dignitaries, and family members, we want you, today's award winners, to know how much we admire you and your achievements. Now, our scholarship ceremony today is named for a very special man who truly valued education. And I just want to point out that it's been a privilege to be involved with this program from the very beginning. As I look around the room, I see Robert Perger from the New York State Education Department, who's been here from the outset. He deserves a great round of applause. Leslie Oppenheim from our Office of Academic Affairs from the very beginning, and really the behind-the-scenes engine for all of this. And he'll receive a formal introduction as well. John Mugalescu, who has been here from the very beginning, who's the Senior Dean at the University in the Office of Academic Affairs. Let's give him a big round of applause. The reason I mention these people before we proceed with the more formal part of our program is because we all had the opportunity to see Peter Jennings speaking one-on-one to students, taking a deep interest in each one's personal story. And we will always remember his delight in participating in this ceremony, and his integrity and perseverance will continue to be a lasting inspiration. So we are especially grateful to Peter's wife and the renowned television journalist and reporter Kayce Freed Jennings for continuing Peter's legacy by her presence and participation at this ceremony, and for her contribution through the Peter Jennings Foundation in support of the Scholarship Fund. Thank you, Kayce. And we want to thank, just as importantly, the Abernathy McGregor Group for its ongoing support and generosity. Thank you all, and we'll be acknowledging more people by name as we move through the program, but let's give them a special round of applause. I also want to acknowledge the presence of a representative of CUNY's Board of Trustees, who is a fabulous board member, deeply dedicated, not only participates in all of the important committees and work of the university, but always asks, when are there events where students will be acknowledged and recognized? And that's Trustee Rita DiMartino. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce someone who I referred to a little earlier. He's the Senior University Dean for Academic Affairs. He's Dean of the School of Professional Studies. He's been with CUNY in the Office of Academic Affairs for more than 25 years, but he had a career at CUNY at the old New York City Community College and many other projects right before them. I think it's fair to say that whenever anything happens that's important at the City University of New York, he is right in the middle of it. Yesterday, the new community college became the Gutman Community College, and it was this individual who convened and organized the first planning group to create a new community college at the City University of New York. Whenever we have successful programs with the Department of Education, whenever we're involved with workforce development, any program, online programs with our School of Professional Studies. Those of us who work closely with him know that he is at the heart of success for the students who benefit from these services. Please welcome Senior University Dean John Mogilescu.
That's about the nicest introduction I've ever received, and I thank you for it, Jay. And you know, Jay has been an institution in himself here at this university. And the one thing I can say about him, he has been incredibly supportive of programs that serve the most needy of our residents of New York City, and he's always there for me, and I really appreciate that. I'm delighted to be joined here by John King and Kayce Freed Jennings and my dear colleague Suri Duitch as well. This event is always a bit emotional for me, and I was telling briefly to the Commissioner that, and as Jay kind of alluded to this as well, that over 40 years ago I came to CUNY as a graduate student in social work, and my assignment was to run a GED literacy program and start one at the Brooklyn House of Detention. And that began this unbelievable career at CUNY. And in 1986, I came to the central office and to kind of oversee an expanded literacy program, expanded GED program. And while my role has changed a lot here at CUNY, the literacy program has always provided the foundation of what I have done. And not only has it served, you know, tens and tens of thousands of people over the last number of years, but its talented staff have really worked to help change CUNY. And I want to just give a couple of examples of that and then get to more of the event of the day. The CUNY START program, which began, you know, 4 or 5 years ago with a pilot of 15 students around the table, GED students, to try and figure out why so many of them did not succeed when they started college, is now going to be enrolling 4,000 students in the fall. And is clearly demonstrated that remediation does not have to be the dead end that it too often is at CUNY. That program bubbled up from the people who ran the literacy program. The Gutman Community College that the Vice Chancellor talked about. The planning group filled with people from the literacy network. ASAB, perhaps our most successful program, same thing in the planning of that. The Emmy Award-winning TV series We Are New York, which, you know, came out of the same group of folks, as did our language immersion program, CLIP, which now, you know, is so much a part of this university and has totally changed the way we do business with regard to ESL instruction. So I want to say that this has been an incredible program, but it's been a program that has changed this university, and that is not a simple thing to do because universities are huge and oftentimes, you know, not that quick to change. So I thank, and some of the people who have been part of that process are right here today. So in preparation for today's ceremony, as we do every year, we followed up on what happened to the Peter Jennings Scholarship winners from prior years. Just a few words about that. The results are incredibly impressive. Most of the students have gone on to study at CUNY colleges. Some of the winners from recent years are still enrolled, and a total of 60 degrees and 2 certificates have been earned already by the award winners. These include 40 associate degrees, 18 bachelor's degrees. 2 students have earned a master's degree, and several others are enrolled in master's level study. 2 students have earned professional certificates. No PhDs yet, but one of our former winners here with us today is currently in a PhD program in mathematics. The GPA of the winners of the scholarship awards is an impressive 3.4. So this has been an incredibly important scholarship event. I just want to mention there are a couple of the people who have former winners who are here today, and maybe, you know, as I acknowledge you, I think you could just stand and we could say thanks. So the PhD candidate who is at Teachers College in math education, is Vera Matoshi, and she got a master's degree in math from Lehman College, had a 4.0 GPA. I was speaking to Yev Tamira Bulatov before we moved to this room. He's a 4.0. We just graduated from Kingsborough with a 4.0 index. He'll be starting Baruch in the fall. And where is he? I know he was here, there, right there. Jenny DeRoche, recipient of many scholarships and awards, 3.8 index at Medgar Evers, mentor for GED students at the college. And Hawley Seeley, who tutors math at Medgar Evers Literacy Program. Where's Hawley? Actually, Peter probably handed the awards to a number of these folks, and I'm sure he would have been incredibly proud of what has happened since then. Scholarship and special recognition can go a long way to encourage our GED students to do their best, but we have an incredible support team of teachers and counselors and GED managers, and to them I pay incredible tribute. They're wonderfully gifted educators, kind of unsung heroes. And as I said before, not only do they do incredible work in their classroom, they're thinking about education all of the time. And so I would ask for those of you who are the teachers and counselors and directors who are in this room to please stand and be recognized. The one mainstay in this program for all these years, and when I started as Central Office in '86, we shared an office as Leslie Oppenheim. Jay mentioned her, but she is so talented, and whether it be We Are New York or just kind of thinking about, she was the kind of the mother of CUNY's start, to recognize that you can do things differently within the framework of remedial education. And so, Leslie, I want to just echo what Jay said and thank you for what you've done. Special thanks to Ramon Teixeira, who works with Leslie on this program, to Pat Gray. Well, Ramon is... To Pat Gray and Marianella Figueroa, they always help us with these events and do it so splendidly. Hillary Sedaris for her special expertise in writing. All the people at CUNY TV, Bob Isaacson and others. But let me conclude by addressing a few words to the Peter Jennings Scholarship Award winners. Obviously, that's why we're here today. I'd like you to know how much I admire and you and your achievements. Passing the GED is not a simple thing. But our hope is, as you embark, and some of you are in college or already, that you get to the finish line. It is so incredibly important in today's world. I have no doubt that you will, and I talked a little bit about the statistics before. Do whatever it takes to get to that finish line. It is not enough to start college. It is not enough to earn credits. You need to get a degree. So I do want to congratulate you and mention that. I want to also acknowledge, I see, because I miss her at the central office, Karen Wilkes, the provost at Medgar Evers College, who is here with us today, and I appreciate, Karen, for you to be here. Okay, and I was just informed that I have Jason Horsford here, who is also a former winner. Jason, where are you? Okay, great. Finally, these are hard times, and scholarships go a long way to helping students. We're grateful for the continued support of Rhonda Barnett and Jim Abernathy of Abernathy McGregor Group. Rhonda, thank you so much. You're here every year. I'm greatly appreciative. And to Kayce Freed Jennings, who has been spectacular in continuing this program. We're so appreciative. Most of all, we honor the students here today. You're fabulous, and I look forward to hearing your bios in a minute.
So I have the privilege of being the parent of two children who are in the New York City public school system. And my daughter woke up this morning earlier than I usually wake up, which is not always the case. And I asked her why she was getting up so early. And she said, well, I'm taking the geometry regents. She happens to be in the 8th grade. Now, I did not say to her that I loved geometry so much when I was in high school that I took it twice. Instead, I said to her, today, I want you to know that I'm going to be introducing the Commissioner of Education of New York State, who oversees all of these exams. She said, yeah, go on. That he oversees more than 7,000 public and independent elementary schools serving 3.1 million students, hundreds of other educational institutions across New York State, including higher education. He happens to be the president of the University of the State of New York, all the higher education institutions in New York State, and libraries and museums. Of course, at this point, I turned to my daughter and said, can you tell me about the Pythagorean theorem? I had to obviously get her attention. And my son is graduating from high school, Baruch Campus High School, and I went to the award ceremony there, and wouldn't you know it, in the award ceremony there was an award to a student for high academic achievement from the Commissioner of Education of New York State. So in both instances, the taking of the regents, which reminded me of my own memories of geometry, and my son participating in a ceremony where students were being acknowledged and recognized. So his involvement with us is very, very, very deep. It's not just that we read about the fact that heroically he mediated the teacher evaluation issue between the mayor's office and the UFT, and was basically asked by the governor to step in and help to solve some of that dilemma and work out a situation where people could move forward together, which was an amazing achievement. But I have to tell you, and it'll take just a moment or two, because I want you to know who this individual is. He is the son of Brooklyn's first African-American principal, who was later the New York City's executive deputy superintendent of schools. His mother was a guidance counselor in the city's public school system who was born in Puerto Rico. When he was 8 years old, his mother passed away of a heart attack while working in a middle school at the age of 48. A few years later, his father started showing signs of advanced Alzheimer's disease, which left him to pretty much take care of himself. And his father then passed away at the age of 79. So he has credited publicly all across the city, all across the state, and I believe in our nation. He credits the New York City public school system for literally saving his life, after the tragic loss of his parents. And he really has proven in every way, shape, or form that what he has been able to achieve is an inspiration to all of us. This is a man who possesses degrees from Harvard, from Yale, from Columbia University. He's the founder of the Roxbury Preparatory Charter School, a Massachusetts-based charter school, and a former director of Uncommon Schools before being appointed Senior Deputy Commissioner for P-12 Education in 2009. He's a very special friend of this university. He's a great friend of Chancellor Goldstein, has worked very closely with him on improving standards and elevating students all across the state. Please welcome the Commissioner of Education and President of the University of the State of New York, Dr. John B. King.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks, Jay, for that very kind introduction. It's an honor to be here for me. I love this opportunity to celebrate what the students have accomplished and what this community has accomplished together. So this is really a privilege. Pleased to be here with Bob Perga, who is champion at the Department for Adult Literacy, has been for a long time. Glad he's here with me. Everyone in this room understands the simple reality that students who have not achieved the high school equivalency diploma, have not achieved a high school diploma, face incredible challenges in our 21st century economy. And those are personal challenges, and those are professional challenges, and truly there are societal challenges. Right? 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there were many jobs available to folks even without a high school diploma or a high school equivalency diploma, and those jobs were good paying jobs with benefits that one could have and sustain a life. There are many, many fewer jobs like that today. And so there is incredible personal urgency for the work of earning a high school equivalency diploma, and you know that. That's why you're here. That's why you have achieved what you have. Because for you, this will be a path forward. And the folks in the room, your families, and the directors of the programs in which you participate, they understand that as well and have been your partners. And I want to recognize that and celebrate that, and also celebrate the commitment that Peter Jennings and Kayce Jennings have shown to you and to the work of ensuring that we have an educated population in the state. But I want to suggest that your achievement today is not just about you, but ultimately about our society. So I'm gonna celebrate you, but also I'm gonna, and I was a high school history teacher, I used to give a lot of homework. Students would complain that there's never a day without homework, and they'd say, oh, it's the day before vacation, I'd say, yes, there's homework. And they'd say, it's the day before summer, and I'd say, yes, there's homework, and I'm gonna come find you in September. So I'm gonna celebrate you, but also ask something of you. What we know is that if we have more college graduates in New York, we will have a better economy in New York. An organization called CEOs for Cities did a study that showed if we added a single percentage point to college attainment in New York State, so if we went from 33.8% of adults with college degrees to 34.8% of adults with college degrees, it would add $17.5 billion of economic activity for the state. What CUNY understands, what everyone in this room needs to understand, is that there is probably no more urgent challenge for us as a state than to ensure that we have more students who are able to enter and succeed in college and go on and succeed in careers. And so the challenge that John gave you to make sure that you press through, overcome the challenges that will inevitably come, and get to graduation isn't just for you and for your families, but really for the future of our state and our country. We need you to do that. We also need an educated workforce, and we also need an educated citizenry. Every day we are faced with challenges that we need to confront together as a society, whether it is the effect of the global warming on our state. The governor has often said, now we have a 100-year flood every year, and that's true. We are facing great challenges. We face a huge challenge in figuring out as a country how to truly celebrate and honor our tradition around immigration, and ensuring that we protect the rights of immigrants in the United States and maximize opportunity for those who immigrate to the United States. We face huge challenges in our economy, ensuring that this economic downturn that we're experiencing and have been experiencing for several years is not where we stay, but is a place from which we can grow and improve our economy and create new opportunity in our city and our state. We need you to press forward with your education and to contribute as citizens, because if you don't, we will all be the worse. And so we're relying on you. And so I do have this homework assignment for you to go on and finish your degree, and then figure out how, in whatever you choose to do next, you will contribute not only to your family and to your immediate community, but to our broader public, our state, and our country. When Martin Luther King was a student at Morehouse College, when he was 18, he published a famous essay on the purpose of education. We should all be so lucky to publish a famous essay at 18. But he wrote in The Maroon Tiger at Morehouse, "Education must enable one to sift and weigh evidence, to discern the true from the false, the real from the unreal, and the facts from the fiction. The function of education, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But education which stops with efficiency may prove the greatest menace to society. We must remember that intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." That is the philosophy that Dr. King lived. That it was not enough to achieve academically, but that life, the purpose of education, is about intelligence plus character. You've demonstrated extraordinary character, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here today. You've persevered through personal challenges. Some of you were working while you were pursuing your high school equivalency diploma. Some of you were raising families while pursuing your high school equivalency diploma. You've overcome all kinds of challenges and persevered. That is a sign of your character. But now I will give you a second homework assignment, which is another sign of character, and one that Dr. King lived so well, is the notion that to whom much is given, much is expected. And so you have been given an extraordinary opportunity to have this community of people gather around you to support you. You now have this scholarship, another great opportunity to pursue your education. And now you have, as we all do, the obligation to figure out how to give back, how to reach back, how to help someone else achieve what you have achieved. And as Jay mentioned, if not for that, I would not be standing here today. And Jay mentioned that when I was 8, my mom passed away. I was a student at PS 276 in Canarsie, Brooklyn. My mom passed away in October of my 4th grade year. And my father got increasingly ill over the time that I was in elementary school. And I had a teacher, Mr. Osterweil, who was my teacher in 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade. He looped with us in 4th, 5th, 6th grade. If not for Mr. Osterweil, I don't think I would be alive today, much less standing here today. Mr. Osterweil looked at me and he saw an African-American, Latino young man in a single-parent home with a terribly ill father, and he could have written me off. He could have concluded, what chance did I have? But instead, Mr. Osterweil saw opportunity in me, saw a reason to be hopeful, and he made school amazing every day. In Mr. Osterweil's class, we read the New York Times every day, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. We had to follow a country in Mr. Osterweil's class in 4th, 5th, 6th grade every day. And so we would be assigned a country. We had to write articles about the country. And it was during the Cold War, and I got the Soviet Union, which was fine because, you know, the articles during the Cold War, there were periods where the articles were few and far between. But then the leader of the Soviet Union died. And I remember like yesterday walking into that classroom. There's a little table by the door, seeing the New York Times, the banner headline that the leader of the Soviet Union had died. And you know how the New York Times is with all the columns, right? Every column was an article about the Soviet Union. And then I had to summarize all those. And then I opened, you know how it says open to page A17? And I opened to page A17, and every column across both sides was an article about the Soviet Union. But you know what? Summarizing those articles, that's what got me to Harvard and Yale and Columbia. Right? That experience of having to read closely, challenging nonfiction texts to summarize, to figure out the key arguments, the most important ideas, that helped me to succeed in life. In Mr. Osterweil's class, we produced plays. We did Midsummer Night's Dream. I was the priest at the end who married the couples. Only recently did I find out that actually there is no priest in the original Midsummer Night's Dream, and that role was added so that I would have a role in the play. In Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, I was the rose. You can imagine I had these big red petals. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember rehearsing and practicing and struggling with the vocabulary, which was incredibly challenging. And I had the chance just 2 weeks ago to visit. Mr. Osterweil is now retired, and he volunteers doing a Shakespeare festival in an elementary school out on Long Island, and I had the opportunity to go see a production of Hamlet done by Mr. Osterwell with another generation of elementary school students who are getting access to opportunity and hope and joy because of his work. So if not for Mr. Osterwell, I wouldn't be here today. He chose to invest in me. He chose to see opportunity in me. He was there. When I finished a book, he was there with another. When I finished a math problem, he was there with a more challenging problem. Right? He was insistent that I would succeed. And so I give you this homework assignment to figure out who in your life, in your family, in your community, in a program where you volunteer, in your professional life, where can you find that opportunity to invest in someone, to give back to someone, to help someone achieve what you have achieved. So you have these two homework assignments to make sure that you get your degree and that you are in a position to contribute to your family, to your community, and to our society. And to make sure that as you do that, that you honor Dr. King's notion of the true purpose of education as intelligence plus character, both through your perseverance and through your commitment to giving back to others. It's truly an honor to be here with all of you. I wish you tremendous success. I look forward to hearing about your successes going forward. Thanks for the opportunity to be here with you.
The Commissioner of Education of New York State. What an honor it is to have him speak to us today. The tassel is worth the hassle. Our next speaker has a very special connection that we have made reference to. She is an amazing television news reporter and documentarian who has spent 20 years at ABC News, covering international and national news, producing for virtually every broadcast in the network news division. She was on the staff at Nightline, World News Tonight, Day One, 2020, has been based all over the world. Along with partners, she co-founded Doc Group, where she helps oversee the production and is a senior producer on many of the company's films. She's co-editor of the oral biography about her husband, Peter Jennings, A Reporter's Life. She's a graduate of Brown University, attended graduate school at the London School of Economics. She is just an incredible supporter of you, of this program, and of our university. Please welcome Kayce Freed Jennings.
First of all, I was Ariel in The Tempest in 4th grade. And then in the spring semester, I was a lady in waiting in The Magic Flute, and I don't think they had those either. So the big difference between last year and this year is I have to wear my glasses. I can't even pretend to read my notes without them, so age. So I've been thinking a lot this year about the power of education because of a film that my company has produced called Girl Rising. It's a centerpiece of a global campaign to educate girls in the developing world. But what the film and the campaign are truly about is the transformative power of education. And I think that's really why we're all here today. And this day, while I hope it's really, really special to each and all of you, and it rightly honors you, it's also about something bigger. It's about your children, and it's about their children. And it's about changing the future, your future, theirs, and all of ours. And you've worked already really, really hard to do that. You all amaze me, and it happens every year. You're just stunning. Your perseverance, your fortitude, your courage, your grace, and your extraordinary achievement. It's awesome. My husband, Peter, was so honored to be associated with the Laurel Scholarship winners. He reveled in sitting in that room. He reveled in sitting in this room with you all. And though it's likely that most of you never saw him at work, and some of you probably have never heard of him before, but this you should know about him. He was an outstanding news anchor, a tremendous reporter. He was an excellent editor. He was a very good man. But what's more important for you to know is that he was a lifelong learner. He was relentlessly curious with an insatiable enthusiasm and appetite for learning and for knowledge. He was also a high school dropout. Every single one of you here in this front row has gone further in school than he ever did. So he'd be humbled today and more than a little bit envious. As I've said before, Peter loved this day, and he loved this occasion, and he looked forward to it. Hours later, the office used to joke about it because he'd still be buzzing around, bouncing off walls, full of the enthusiasm of the day. And he's thoroughly exhilarated by the encounters that he had with the Laurel winners. And with good reason. And I will, too, be bouncing off walls this afternoon, and my office will be trying to hold me down, and I'll be buzzing about telling them what a great morning I had. And this is why, as I said, you guys are amazing. I want everyone here to just listen to a few snippets that I get the privilege of reading all the nomination packets, and it really is a privilege, and it's really exciting. So I want to share just a few tiny snippets of what I learned about you guys and what I want other people in this room to know. So Nomar, you passed your exam, this just stuns me, 3 months after you started your GED class, while working and while taking care of your brothers and sisters. And now you're going on to study electrical engineering, I believe. Is that right? Do I have that right? And in your words, become someone in life. Well, I think you already have. Mukta, this is what you wrote in your application. I figured out that nothing comes on its own. You have to earn it to own it. Well, I think you earned it, I think you own it, and I think you deserve it. John, we were talking earlier about the idea of passing down to generations. John's sons are here. They're adorable. When you decided to go back to school and you were already working 2 jobs and taking care of 2 boys, your wife asked when you'd sleep. Your answer, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. That humbled me. I figure I have to stop finding those excuses. Rudy, I didn't get to meet you yet, but nice to meet you now. You wrote that you immigrated to unknown lands, as you put it, to pursue the dreams of an education that had, in your words, vanished back home in Peru. Now with your GED in hand, you've got your eye on a degree in electrical engineering, I think. And when you get that, you said, I will feel like a realized man who has just obtained in life what he wanted. Deborah, oh yeah, we didn't meet yet either. This is what you write. There comes a time in life when you come to a crossroad and you must make a decision about which road to choose. All you have is gut instinct. Well, ignoring the naysayers around you, you went with your gut, and how right you were. Congratulations. Sabina, we were talking about this before. Sabina's from St. Lucia, which I love, and it's been sort of a second home to me. I've been there many times, staying between Castries and Gros Soleil. We talked about the jump-ups in town on Friday nights. Sabina is self-taught. She's a parent, a businesswoman, and she's now a successful student with a dream, a hair treatment product line, and I have no doubt that that dream's going to come true. Jennifer, this is what your nominator said about you. Larger than life, courageous. I don't know if you've seen her. She's really tall. She went on to say, like a mythical phoenix, you rose from the ashes and the tragedy of losing your mom in 9/11 to soar high toward a new life. You said that the GED classes sparked something new in you. I could actually pursue my dreams, you wrote, and become someone my son can be proud of. I suspect he is already. Mina, you were nominated with great enthusiasm. One of those individuals, your nominator said, who must persist over a long period of time, fighting school fatigue, financial pressure, and self-doubt. And persist you clearly did. Thinking about the future makes me excited, you wrote. I know now I can achieve bigger things. And Kimona, okay, now talk about ambition here. As I understand it, you're looking towards a master's or a PhD in mathematics. I can't even add 2 + 2. That so intimidates me. But to you, that was just what you call an audacious goal. Just like when you were going for your GED, sometimes you had to run to school from work, sometimes without enough money for a MetroCard, often confronting the gnawing fear of failure. I would just say this, stay audacious. And I want to borrow some of it. Michael, can I call you that? Your nominator called you Michael. I can pronounce it better. And if he did, I thought it was okay, I did it. This is what Michael said. I did not cry to quit. Instead, I cried to keep going. And clearly you have kept going. Biochemistry. You also said this, I strongly believe that I can break the circle of being poor and uneducated. And when I one day really break this circle, I will tell all these people that in our lives, nothing is impossible. So congratulations to all of you. You are extraordinary, and you are truly role models for all of us in this room. Like Peter, I'll leave here today exhilarated by my encounters and inspired by your resolve and your achievements. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this morning.
Now, joining Kayce in the awarding of the scholarship certificates is Dean Suri Duitch, the University Associate Dean of Continuing Education, Deputy to the Senior University Dean for Academic Affairs. Suri oversees continuing education at CUNY, workforce development, adult literacy programs, college transition programs, services to students on public assistance, just about everything that is great and important at CUNY. And in fact, Commissioner, I invited Suri to join me at lunch with officials from the Federal Reserve. We're going to have a conversation about financial literacy education programs with CUNY. And I immediately said, I need Suri with me in order to make it work. So please welcome Suri Duitch.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. It's such an honor. Thank you, Leslie, and everyone who's worked on this, but especially Leslie, for allowing me to be here and be able to read your bios and congratulate you. So we're going to go one by one. I'm going to call your names if you can come up, and I'll read a little bit more about you. And Kayce will present you with the certificates and a copy of a book. Nomar dropped out of high school to help his mother support his 3 younger siblings. One day he came home to find an eviction notice on the door of his family's apartment. Soon his family was sleeping in a homeless shelter, a horrible environment, he recalls, where he lost the ability to concentrate on his schoolwork. When his family got resettled, he was determined to go back to school. Nomar wrote, "I studied hard and paid real close attention so I could prove that I have got what it takes to go to college." He cut back on his work hours and found someone to watch his younger brothers and sisters while he was in school. As Kayce pointed out, 3 months after enrolling in a GED class at Lehman College's Adult Learning Center, Nomar earned his GED. He credits his excellent teacher and his boss, who was understanding about his schedule and even helped him with his homework, as well as his cell phone, which allowed him to call and check on his siblings. Nomar plans to pursue a career in electrical engineering. In his own words, "I'm excited about everything I've learned, and I've wanted to do this for a long time." Nomar plans to attend Hostos Community College. Congratulations. Mukta Begum came to the U.S. as a child. On the 23-hour flight from Bangladesh, she looked forward to her new life in the land of opportunity, as she put it, where, she believed, anyone could become what they wanted to become. Mukta married young and left high school to start a family. She went to work in a department store. She began thinking about getting her GED and knew that she was capable of doing it. But how? She needed to work to help support her family in Brooklyn and in Bangladesh. She decided to study on her own until she was ready to enroll in a GED class at Brooklyn College. Her teacher describes Mukta as serious, diligent, and determined to study in spite of many obstacles. Mukta passed the GED test after 1 semester and is now a liberal arts major at Kingsborough Community College. She hopes to become a pharmacist. In her application essay entitled An American Dream, she asks, "Where can a GED diploma take a person?" and answers, "I already know where it's taking me." Congratulations. Congratulations. When John Caradice enrolled in a GED class at Lehman College's Adult Learning Center, he had 2 young sons, 2 jobs, and lots of doubts about his prospects as a student. He was the oldest one in the class. His handwriting was a mess, and he worried that it was too late to improve his grammar and spelling. But he remembers his teacher telling him, "You're not the oldest person to come back to school. When it comes to your penmanship, I've seen worse. If you want to improve, just read and write more." So that's what John did. His teacher encouraged him to scribble his ideas down, and in time, John's storytelling talents became story writing skills. Even though, as John put it, his children's feet were growing faster than the magic beans that Jack traded his cow for, and he was working long hours as a driver and security guard to support them, in addition to being a scout leader, John came to class, did his work, took the test, and when he failed the math section, took it again. When he got his GED diploma, John said, "I felt like the turtle that beat the rabbit in a race." Now a psychology major at Bronx Community College, John plans to work as a counselor for at-risk youth. Congratulations. Congratulations. Rudy Cordoba grew up in Peru. He excelled in math and dreamed of becoming an electrical engineer. He recalls taking his toys apart and putting them back together, wondering what was inside and how they worked. His parents were proud, but they couldn't afford to give him an education. When Rudy came to the U.S., he began working long hours to pay for his expenses and send money home, where he has 4 siblings who also have dreams. After years of ESL classes, he enrolled in the GED class with a perfect score on the math practice test, but a lot of work to do in reading and writing. I would trade with my peers. They helped me with my English, and I helped them with math. His teacher describes Rudy as a person with phenomenal drive, who was painfully shy in the beginning, hesitant to speak in front of his classmates, who became a trusted friend and a brave teacher to many of them. Rudy agrees that his perseverance and patience have served him well. When I felt discouraged and wanted to give up, he recalls, I found ways to make small progress in order to encourage myself. Rudy plans to study electrical engineering at New York City College of Technology. Congratulations. When Deborah Effenberger decided to enroll in a GED class at York College, she was surprised to find that not all of her friends and family understood her need to further her education. I decided to surround myself with positive people who supported my decision, Deborah recalls. Her teacher describes Deborah as a consummate student who applied what she learned in class to her homework assignments and wasn't afraid to ask questions when she didn't understand. Though math was her weakness, she found that as her confidence grew, her fear of math began to fade. After passing the GED test, Deborah was chosen as the York College Adult Learning Center's valedictorian. Congratulations. She told her fellow graduates, let this be the starting point for all the other goals you set for yourself. Deborah continues to volunteer as a tutor and mentor at York College. She is in her first semester at Borough of Manhattan Community College, majoring in business administration. Congratulations. Sabina Francis grew up in St. Lucia, as Kayce pointed out, where she lived with her grandmother and 15 cousins. She had many responsibilities at home, which kept her from going to school. As a teenager, she enrolled in a night school for cosmetology. She couldn't read well, but managed to pass her written test by memorizing the textbook. She became a successful hairdresser and even developed a remedy for hair loss, but she lacked the credentials to market her product. Sabina enrolled in a GED class at Bronx Community College. She recalls, I had a hard time understanding what was being taught, especially in mathematics. When she failed the math section of the GED test, she was disappointed, but she remembers thinking, I've done well coming from where I started. As Sabina kept working on her math skills, her teacher showed her some techniques to help her overcome her test anxiety, something many of us can relate to. She took the test again and passed. Sabina plans to study business at Bronx Community College. Her goal is to become a successful, independent businesswoman. Meena Kumari came to the U.S. from India as a child. She arrived in the middle of the 8th grade school year. Meena spoke no English and remembers school as a strange and scary experience. In the 9th grade, she dropped out. 10 years later, when Meena came to the Adult Learning Center at LaGuardia Community College, she was placed in a basic education class. This is where, Meena recalls, she learned to read and began to write about her life. When she didn't know what to write, her teacher told her, just keep the pen moving. Meena moved from level 3 to level 4 and eventually to the GED class, where she read Things Fall Apart and waited anxiously for feedback on her essays. Everyone on the Adult Learning Center staff got to know Meena. She made many friends, both students and teachers. Although she didn't pass the test on her first few tries, she continued to come to class every day. She recalls, in a way, I was lucky because I loved going to class. I would learn something new every day. After earning her GED, Meena spent a semester in the CUNY START program at LaGuardia, at the end of which she passed all of the CUNY skills tests. Impressive. She is now a matriculated LaGuardia student with plans to transfer to John Jay College to study criminal justice. Congratulations. Kimona Sivrai grew up in Jamaica. After coming to New York 4 years ago, she realized that she wanted to further her education. Afraid she would fail, Kimona made a plan for herself to be purposeful, punctual, resilient, and attend every class, even when she didn't feel like it. In her application essay, Kimona described the stress of running from school to work, trying to get there on time, the days when there was no money for a Metro card, the days when I struggled to understand the assignment. But the sacrifices paid off when Kimona passed the GED test on her first try, I might say with excellent scores, particularly in math. She then enrolled at Medgar Evers College. She passed the CUNY skills test and was placed into Mathematics 151, which is pre-calculus, and English 112. She calls her GED diploma a passport that opened many doors, but the most important door was the one to college. Now a math major, Kimona continues to volunteer as a tutor for students in the Medgar Evers program. Erica Suarez is next. She could not be here today because of a family emergency, so accepting the scholarship and the certificate on her behalf is Zenobia Johnson, who's the literacy program director at Ostos Community College. Erica Suarez left high school in the 10th grade when she married and started a family, but soon she started to feel that something was missing from her life, which led her to enroll in a GED class at Ostos Community College. After I began attending GED classes, Erica wrote, I was surprised by how much information I had missed out on. There was a lot of high school level math and writing that I didn't know, but I worked hard. Erica attended every class and met with classmates after class to go over homework together. It wasn't always easy to stay focused on school while taking care of her family, but Erica had their full support. My kids loved it, she says. They would always ask me how school was going and what I learned. We would all sit down and do homework together at the kitchen table. At Ostos, Erica realized that she was good at being a student, or, as she wrote in her application essay, I'm like a nerd. I live to learn. In her GED class, she also found out about college and financial aid. As the first person in her family to earn her high school equivalency diploma, Erica is very proud to be a freshman at Ostos Community College, where she plans to study nursing. Chao Huanzhang grew up in China. When he immigrated to the U.S. 5 years ago, he only spoke a few words of English. Chao began by taking ESL classes at Borough of Manhattan Community College's Adult Basic Education Program and worked his way up to the GED class. I didn't know what a sentence was, Chao Huan recalls, or how to solve a simple math equation. Although Chao Huan continued to work long hours at his factory job, he never missed a class. Sometimes he wondered how he could keep up with his fellow students whose first language was English. As he wrote in his application essay, I cried so hard sometimes. However, I did not cry to quit. I cried to keep going. When Chao Huan started learning about atoms, chemical reactions, and the elements that make up our body and what we see around us, he realized that he wanted to be a chemist. After he passed the GED test, he continued to study on his own while he waited to be accepted by Kingsborough Community College. He is now a proud chemistry major at Kingsborough, entering with no remedial needs. I strongly believe that I can break the cycle of being poor and uneducated and be an influence to many others like myself, Chao Huan says. People just like the previous and present me who want to change their lives but face many challenges. And our last student award winner is Jennifer Jones, who is the student speaker. When Jennifer Jones arrived in her GED class at Brooklyn College's Adult Learning Center, her teacher immediately noticed the eager gleam in her eye. Jennifer was thrilled to be back in school, writing essays about The Alchemist and discussing Flowers for Algernon with her classmates and teacher. Shortly after leaving high school and becoming a mother, Jennifer had lost her own mother in the World Trade Center attacks. For years, she was consumed by grief. When her son was 10, Jennifer saw that her son was struggling in school and decided it was time for her to earn a GED. I wanted him to know that if I could do it, so could he, she recalls. Jennifer's teacher describes her as a voracious reader who crafted amazing essays and shared them with her peers. Getting up and going onto the campus, Jennifer wrote in her application essay, among the future scholars made me fall in love with the college experience. I found myself envious of the students rushing from class to class. I realize there are so many things I'd like to learn to grow into a better version of myself. Jennifer plans to study literature and journalism at Kingsborough Community College.
First, I'd like to welcome Commissioner King, my fellow scholarship recipients, as well as their families and friends, the many teachers here today, CUNY staff, and those who made these scholarships possible. Ms. Jennings, I grew up watching your late husband, Peter Jennings, on the news with my parents. He is a legend in his profession, and even after his passing, he is a mentor to people such as me who want to pursue a career in writing. When I learned that he also had been a high school dropout before he went on to do such great work in journalism, I had to admit that boosted my confidence. Peter Jennings' life taught us that if we strive for the very best in ourselves, not only can we go on to do remarkable things, but we can also inspire others. It was through watching him on television that I learned of the horror that befell my mother on September 11th and the aftermath that followed. On behalf of all the other scholarship recipients, I'd like to thank the Peter Jennings Foundation and the firm of Abernathy McGregor for investing in our potential and helping us move forward academically. Because of your generation, we as a group are one step closer to becoming electrical engineers, a counselor for at-risk youth, a businesswoman, a criminal justice specialist, a mathematician, a nurse, a chemist, a pharmacist, and myself, a writer. Life can be hard, no matter where you come from. In a world where the more informed you are, the better off you'll be, education is critically important. Some can breeze through effortlessly from high school to college and achieve any degree they wish. It sometimes seems to us GED graduates that today's high school students have it a little easier than we did. We face more challenges. Some of us haven't been to school in many years. We have to work. We don't have much money. We have children to feed and rent to pay. And these real adult situations have hindered us. So when a high school dropout decides to go back and earn their diploma while overwhelmed with all sorts of obstacles, I think that truly takes great courage. We have all had to set personal goals for ourselves to reach where we are today. I had to slowly work toward earning my GED. In the beginning, like most GED students, I lacked confidence, but with the help and support of my GED teacher, Ms. Alexis Morales, my faith in my own abilities grew and I began to believe in myself. I was motivated and I worked hard. When I finally earned my diploma, the shame I once had at being a high school dropout was gone. I was able to close the chapter on something that I had let hold me back for so many years. When something unbelievably great happens, like receiving a scholarship to go to college, we must cherish it. So I urge all my fellow recipients to savor this moment. Enjoy it. The best way to show our gratitude is to continue our education and try our hardest to meet our full potential. I'd like to congratulate all the recipients of the Peter Jennings Laurel Award Scholarship and wish them luck in their future endeavors. Thank you to all the people who helped us and took the time and effort to work alongside us, and to everyone here today for coming to show your support. Thank you.